Myself, Dr.M.Saranya, Assistant Professor of BBA Department. Now I am going to present a topic on research process. There are various steps in the research process. The first step is formulating the research problem. There are two types of research problems. Those which relate to states of nature and those which relate to relationship between variables. At the very outset, the researcher must single out the problem he wants to study. He must decide the general area of interest or aspect of a subject matter that he would like to inquire into. Initially, the problem may be stated in a broad, general ways, and then the ambiguities, if any, relating to the problems be resolved. Second step is extensive literature survey. Once the problem is formulated, a brief summary of it should be written down. It is compulsory for a research worker writing a thesis for a PhD degree to write a synopsis of the topic and submit it to necessary committee or the research board of approval. At this junction, the researcher should undertake extensive literature survey connected with the problem. Third step is development of working hypothesis. After extensive literature survey, researcher should state in clear terms the working hypothesis or hypothesis. A working hypothesis is tentative assumption made in order to draw out and test its logical or empirical consequences. As such, the manner in which research hypotheses are developed is particularly important since they provide the focal point of research. It also indicates the type of data required and the type of methods of data analysis to be used. How does one go about developing working hypothesis? The answer is by using the following approaches. Option 1 is a discussion with colleagues and experts about the problem, its origin and the objective in seeking a solution. Second one is examination of data and records, if available, concerning the problem for a possible trends. Third one is review of similar studies in the area of the studies on similar problems. And last one is exploratory personal investigation, which involves original field interviews on a limited scale with interested parties and individuals with a view to secure greater insight into the practical aspects of the problem. Thus, working hypothesis arise as a result of a prior thinking about the subject, examination of the available data and material, including related studies, and the council of experts and interested parties. Working hypotheses are more useful when stated in precise and clearly defined terms. Fourth stage is preparing the research design. The research problem have been formulated in clear terms. The researcher will be required to prepare a research design. He will have to state the conceptual structure within which the researcher would be conducted. The preparation of such a design facilitates researcher to be as efficient as possible, obtaining maximal information. In other words, the functions of research design is to provide for the collections of relevant evidence with minimal expenditure of effort, time and money. But how all these can be achieved depends mainly on the research purpose. Research purposes may be grouped into four categories: exploration, description, diagnosis and experimentation. Fifth stage is determining sample design. All the items under consideration in any field of inquiry constitute a universe or population. A complete enumeration of all the items in the population is known as the census inquiry. It can be presumed that in such an inquiry, when all the items are covered, no elements of chance is left and highly accuracy is obtained. But in practice, this may not be true. The sample design is to be used must be decided by the researcher, taking into consideration the nature of the inquiry and other related factors. Next stage is collecting data. In dealing with any real life problem, it is often found that data at hand are inadequate and hence it becomes necessary to collect the data that are appropriate. There are several ways of collecting the appropriate data which differ considerably in context of money, cost, time and other resources at the disposal of the researcher. The first one is by observation we can collect the data. Next one is through personal interview. Next through telephone interview. Or by mailing the questionnaires, or through schedule method we can collect the data. The seventh stage is execution of the product. Execution of the project is very important step in the research process. If the execution of the project proceeds on a correct line, the data to be collected would be adequate and dependable. The researchers should see that the project is executed in a systematic manner and in time. Next one is analysis of data. After the data have been collected, the researcher turns to take task and analyzing them. The analysis of data requires a number of closely related operations such as establishment of categories, the applications of these categories to raw data through coding, tabulation, and then drawing statistical inferences. Next one is hypothesis testing. After analyzing the data as stated above, the researcher in a position to test the hypothesis if any he had formulated earlier. Next one is generalization and interpretation. If a hypothesis is tested and upheld several times, it may be possible for the researcher to arriving at generalization to build the theory. As a matter of fact, the real value of the research lies in its ability to arrive at a certain generalization. If the researcher had no hypothesis to start with, he might seek the explanation his findings on the basis of some theory. Next one is preparation of the report. Finally, the researcher has to prepare the report of what has been done by him. Writing of a report must be done with greater care of keeping with the greater care. Thank you.